Yes, people, welcome once again to your intercommunal sound service, Tunes and Attack. As always, got a great show lined up, got a very, very interesting guest. Gonna take some tune from the Persons of Interest Wanted album. Big up to the crew. And as always, some great tunes, Nickie's Toolkit. So in the meantime, between time, we're gonna kick off with Persons of Interest, and this one is called Test. So watch the tune, yeah.
Put you to the test. Encourage the youth them to try them best. Them unprepared, shoot out without a vest. Interviewing shirts without a press. Again, expect great things and that's for sure. Don't sell yourself short because you're poor. Don't stop there, there is more in store. Youth, there is more in store.
Police lights still flashing. Army trucks them still passing. Policeman office still a be shot. Him know the coppers them a zing pass him. Must pray say the shatter them no know. Them gun that well are the stone them we fling pass him. But in the med him still asking. How Jamaica still a war when the Christians them still fasting. And the Catholics them still massing. Papi hide somebody shoot bout jam down. When the visitors them we come in ask him. But why you tell a you to feel like everything good where the world of it bring pass him in graduate from school with degree him exams them him been passing can't get a job while you them panic and work and yet them still flossing him baby mother she come in vex pass him he part time him a do now pay plus it exhausting so him get vex and put two cut pan him boss me sorry for the one the next cross him upset and vex ask him yo
my people I'm gonna push you to the test encourage the youth them to try them best them unprepared shoot out without a vest interviewing church without a press again expect great things and that's for sure don't sell yourself short because you're poor don't stop there there is more in store youth there is more in store
and I no get them used, but them Glock shine. With hollow pines we both skull, 2 time and crack spine. Businessman a park up when collectors say tax time. Our copper shot hang them up like rope in Ku Klux time. Cars a live in ice, some mount up roadblocks, some plaque sign. But the means up and soak like when the fruit man them chop pine. Cops respond slow from both cell phone and landline. I saw jam down and run man, oh if we stop kind.
My people I'm gonna put you to the test encourage the youth them to try them best them unprepared shoot out without a vest interviewing church without a press again expect great things and that's for sure don't sell yourself short because you're poor don't stop there there is more in store youth there is more in store my people I'm gonna put you to the test encourage the youth them to try them best them unprepared shoot out without a vest interviewing church without a press again expect
yes and that's the sounds of Persons of Interest and a one called Test for Real and you want to check that out from the Wanted album released in 2020 January last year still fresh off the block as you would say. I'm have to say big up and I'm gonna big them up because they are my peoples. Big up Monifa, Afi and the entire crew. Yeah man, you don't know, glad to see you go through and doing no thing musically and keeping the creativity. Amber Keely and Sister Marcia, you know, big up on yourself. You know, sometimes when I see them I do them like a video and thing, me have to laugh still because boy them couldn't escape it, you know, and you all know what I mean. The creativity. So bless up my family and keep the sound frequencies going. Yes, without further ado, you know, I want to introduce my guest. But you all remember a couple shows back, I had Trish, a very creative soul on the show, you know, elaborating on her craft, and she did a very beautiful painting, you know, and that picture was on the wall. And I said, stay tuned because you're gonna keep seeing that painting over and over in time to come. So I want to introduce a very creative soul, another creative soul, and you know, she's the CEO and founder of Singabook. And about 2 weeks ago, I also played a track called I Love Jamaica by Evadne. So as such, no long talking, I want to welcome to the platform Evadne Bygrave herself, finally, to elaborate a bit on Singabook and the upcoming Dido Belle project, which is another story. And she's got so much going on where I have to do another interview about the community center she's opened in Jamaica, but that's for another time. But for now, Evadne, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Yes, a pleasure. Long overdue. And
yes.
Gosh, you know, you got so much to share and tell the people. And even I myself is excited at the moment because I'm actually looking forward. As I say, I'm part of the summer project coming up where Evadne has been doing for years, and I'm looking forward to that. And despite going through, you know, as I call it, the global crisis, you know, I know last year you couldn't do the show, but as such, we're looking forward to this year and a lot of, you know, support from all angles. And later on, you can, you know, elaborate on the crowdfunding aspect and just plug what you need to plug, you know. But first of all, I want to ask what really got you started in the whole Singabook project and also the pantomime direction you've taken on.
Okay.
You know?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honour, it really is. So Singabook, how did Singabook come about? I'm a teacher of 20 years.
Yeah.
One of the things that always found difficult was getting children engaged in reading. We have children who are fluent readers, but they just don't like reading.
Yeah.
So way back at the beginning of my career, I used to write songs based on the books that we were reading. Yeah. And then at the end of reading the book, the children were able to put on a performance of some kind for an assembly. Yeah. So when I decided to kind of move out of teaching about 7 years ago, the question was, what do I do? And I'd already written a couple of songs for a school that I was working at, and I just thought just bringing in Singabook as a company, whereas I go to schools and I work with children who are disengaged with reading. I do workshops. We do after-school clubs. Children read a whole book, and then again they put on a performance to the rest of the school for assembly and to their parents. So that's where the idea of Singabook came from. It's really coming from a place of education. It's coming from a place of engaging children in learning every single aspect of learning using song and drama. So that's still very much the concept behind the productions as well. It's just taking it to a different level, really.
All right. And, you know, just from your way you're elaborating, you know, you get the sense, I get the sense, you know, of my definition of a true educator, but how do you view education, and what's your view on what education is?
Education, I see the role as more teachers as facilitators. Yeah. So you have teachers who teach, who talk at children, who impart information, and that is part of it as well. But as a facilitator or an educator, it's a two-way thing. It's about how do you engage children. You find different ways to engage children in any aspect of learning. So again, it's not just picking up a pen and a pencil and writing and reading. It's educating them about their culture. It's educating them about the world. It's educating other people about other people's culture. Education is massive. It really is massive. And I think the key with education is finding a way to engage. Whether it's an adult or whether it's a child, whether you're at college or university, how do you engage someone to learn? And having the freedom now to do that, great. It's art through the arts. I believe it's through the arts. Whether it's through singing, whether it's through dance, whether it's through drama, whether it's poetry, whatever.
that's the way I see engaging children.
I agree with that, because I myself, even as a facilitator, and been through so many different workshops all over the place, you can see where the arts really engage children, and that makes me also come to the conclusion that a lot of people think education is about being academic, but I tend to disagree with that, and I just feel education means bringing out the best.
Absolutely.
Really, it's not just from an academia point of view. Still not wrong with being academia, but it's also bringing out the best, and not everybody is academic. And I got so much stories, and I'm sure you got stories can tell about children who they might deem as less academic, but you put them in a certain sphere and they'll shine in that particular department.
Absolutely.
So in regards to the production you've done, because this one coming up is the third one?
It's going to be the third one, yes.
So start off with the first one, the title and what inspired that, and lead into the second, and then we can speak about the third production.
Okay. So the very first production I did actually was in a school that I was teaching at, and I chose a book which is by Anthony Brown called Into the Forest. And I started writing one song for it, then there was 2 songs, and it was 3 songs, and then before you know it, I had 8 songs. Yeah. And so I managed to get permission from Anthony Brown to put it into a musical and create additional characters. Yeah. And I had a great head teacher at the time who said, yes, Evadne, if you want to do it for the Year 6 production, you can. So I did. I thought, wow, this is really good. This is fantastic. So the next project again was based on a book called Fern Meets Dido Elizabeth Belle, and Kate Meets Dido Elizabeth Belle, and again I took the book to write one song, and realised that there wasn't much to the book, so I had to expand on the book and giving it a middle, giving it some characters, and just giving it a bit more volume. And again, it was just like, look, this is a great book for a musical. So that was the first one, which was Fern Meets Dido Elizabeth Belle. That was in Croydon in 2018, and then in 2019 we did Dido Through the Looking Glass. So we kind of did away with characters that we felt weren't necessarily relevant, and we wanted to focus on Dido, because Dido was one of Britain's first aristocrats of African
which I want to touch later on, and we see that for later.
So I wanted to focus on Dido because she was far more interesting than Kate. But how do you bring Dido in alone? So the idea was that, well, she'll go through her looking glass, and she will meet other historical characters of African descent that has also made a significant contribution to either British history or world history. So the 2019 production was, she went through her looking glass and she met Mary Seacole. And she also met Samuel Coleridge Taylor. So Samuel Coleridge Taylor was a composer, lived in Croydon, and Mary Seacole was also a mixed race British and Jamaican nurse who set up her own hotel in the Crimean War and supported the soldiers. So it was Dido kind of exploring and trying to find herself as someone of mixed heritage, living in a time where we were in the height of slavery. So she was living in Kenwood House with her uncle, and it was her kind of exploring and discovering herself, and how does she fit in, and feeling slightly isolated, and meeting these other 2 characters. So that was the 2019, and then this production, she goes through her looking glass and she goes to Jamaica.
In which we discussed that a little bit. So we're talking to Evadne Bygrave, CEO and founder of Singabook, and there's so much to elaborate on. But we're gonna take a tune, and this one is from Evadne's own little production, because everything Evadne does is original. This one is called Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. Coulda, Shoulda, Woulda. Enjoy.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I won't. And if you think I'm kidding, you're mistaken. So the history that you're seeing won't be told, and they will never know the that Samuel Coleridge Taylor was a hit. And they will never know that he's a great role model for the kids. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I won't. And if you think I'm kidding, you're mistaken. So the history that you're seeing won't be told. And they will never know that he went to music college at 15. And they will never know that his music was adored by kings and queens. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I won't. And if you think I'm kidding, you're mistaken. So the history that you're seeing won't be told. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but 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 I won't. And if you think I'm kidding, you're mistaken. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I didn't. That you're seeing won't be told. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And shoulda, think I'm coulda, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. So the history that you see won't be shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I won't.
I love that. I love that. And you know the funny thing about it, it's like knowing you and your creativity. I can say Evadne's signature, vibes coming right through it, But give an explanation behind this song, and I know also Michael is part of the musical project, so elaborate on that.
So first of all, props to Michael, because Michael is the producer, and he, if it wasn't for Michael, the first musical wouldn't have happened, and this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Michael, for producing all the music. But this particular song, Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda, within the storyline, Dido goes through her looking glass and she meets a character called the Big Black Book. And the Big Black Book is making sure that history represents our black history. But there is a bit of a rogue historian who chooses not to include some of the black history. So when he had met Samuel Coleridge Taylor, he then turned to this his guardian, they're called, and said, are you going to put this in the book? And she said, no, put it in your own book. So this is a song that the his guardian sings, saying that I should have, but I'm not going to put his name in my history book. So that's where that song comes from. But the children love that one. They sing that one over and over. So it's got to be obviously rewritten for this particular production coming up.
So and as you mentioned, can you elaborate on this one coming up? Because I know you were saying going back to Jamaica, and there was some point, you mentioned Nanny and Sam Sharp, as people can see in the photo, and we'll even come to this photo in itself, but give us some insight on the concept of the next production.
Well, I think it's important that we put Dido in the timeline that she was in. So, this, as I said, the transatlantic slave trade was in its height at that time. And while Dido was living as a gentle lady in Kenwood House, we know that slavery was happening around the Americas and the Caribbean.
And that's Kenwood House, London.
That's
UK.
in Hampstead, yes. And so the idea of Dido going to Jamaica is to find out what it is that was going on, what was it that was driving the slave trade, because obviously people were getting rich off of it in the UK. Her uncle, who was Lord Mansfield, was also one of the highest judges in the UK at the time. And he presided over quite a few cases relating to the slave trade. So it's all relevant. So when she goes to Jamaica, obviously she's going to meet Sam Sharp, who started one of the rebellions for the Sunday, the Baptist minister, who started one of the Christmas, it's the Christmas rebellion with the slaves. So she meets him. And I think the other reason for her going to meet Sam Sharp and Queen Nanny is that we weren't just sitting back accepting our fate.
Yeah, true.
That people were out there constantly fighting, constantly trying to, escape. As you know, Queen Nanny was saving people and taking it, about the maroon towns, etc. So we weren't just sitting back going, massa, no massa. And I think it was important for Dido to see that, there is a struggle going on, not just with herself, but also with people in Jamaica and the slaves. They were struggling for their freedom. And also it leads to why slavery was really abolished. Because of obviously all the unrest. They were losing money. They were burning plantations. They were, so in the end it was actually kind of like, is this slave thing really worth it? Let's count our losses and take on. So there's so much more to the ending of the slave trade than we know about. And people like Sam Sharp and Queen Nanny were instrumental in that. So that's the story behind her going to Jamaica.
Because, what's even interesting for me is that, it bring elements where I'm highly familiar with, especially when it comes to Nanny, because I actually walk on the grounds, sleep on the grounds, eat on the grounds of Nanny. And for those of you who know of this place in Jamaica, people call it breastwork. But, we Jamaicans, we put a spin on stuff, but it's actually called best work.
Okay.
And it's a place in Port Antonio, when you're heading up, for example, going up to Nanny Town, but it's pretty much close to the town. And why it's called best work, that's the exact spot where Nanny defeated the English. Right. So it was our best work in our, warfare tactics. And that's why it's called best work. But people call it breastwork and not breastwork. It's best work.
Right.
So yes. So we're talking to Evadne Bygrave, CEO and founder of Singabook. And, I would say just more than an educator. And for those of you out there in the teaching fraternity, do take note, because education is a huge umbrella. And I know some people in the educational fraternity, they deem the academic, and like I said, it goes under a huge umbrella. And the arts, as you know, is very powerful.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take one more track. And this track is from the Bygraves. Don't know if you're familiar or not. But this one is called Set Me Free from the Bygraves. Enjoy.
Check it out, 7:40.
Sit down and thinking to myself, why do people treat me the way they do? I'm just the same as anybody else, but some people don't seem to think that's true. Look around the world, what do I see? Suffering, can you believe we're human beings? Time for you to change your selfish way. Listen to these words I have to say. Set me free, stop despising me. Set me free. Can't you see? I can take no more. Set me free. I'm just a human being like you. Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free. what's wrong. Come on, one love will set us free. Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free. Set me free. Set me free. Can't you see? I can take no more. Set me free. I'm just a human being. Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free. Can't you see? I can take no more. Set me free. I'm just a human being. Set me free. Set me free. Can't you see? Can't you see? I can take no more. Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free. Can't you see? I can take no more. Set me free. I'm just a human being.
I ran a duct and I survived. I broke my chains, now I just glide into a mood that once was driven. A little understanding and you're forgiven. So sever those ties and turn it loose. It's another bad groove that cooks a goose. If I was the same as anybody else, then give me that cure for my sickle cell. Set me free as I look around. Some matched up brothers all broken down and peddling what they shouldn't ride. Gooch close, man, you better run and hide. I look to the future, and what does it hold? I see my chunks are out in the cold. Serve my function, now I decree. There's no bad thing, so set me free.
Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free. Set me free. Can't you see? I can take no more. I'm just a human being. Set me free. Stop despising me. Set me free.
Yes, that's the sound of the Bygrave and one called Set Me Free. You need to check it out, you know. You could be a family, you never know. Same surname, Bygrave, come on, you know. Such creativity, you know, singing, songwriting, you know. And she's a bit of a jazz singer too, you know, people. So, you know, don't let her little nonchalant kind of vibes fool you. She's very creative, you know. Yes, and regarding the whole, you know, summer workshop you do leading up to the pantomime, is there a targeted audience in particular age group? You know, how you go about selecting her, or what's the criteria?
So the arts, in the arts, there has been an underrepresented, well, there's quite a few underrepresented groups, but one of the groups that concerns me are the black and browned children. And this is evident when you go to the theatre. You don't see very many black children on stage. You might get one or two, and then you don't get many older black characters like 55 plus on stage either, unless it's a black content play. So if you're going to see Tina or Nine Night or something like that. And so one of the reasons why I started the summer projects was to engage more black and Asian people into the arts and especially into theatre. So the age group that we work with is from 7 to 18 and over 55. And we do focus on African Caribbean children, but at the same time it's open for everybody. But our core group is people from African Caribbean background. And hence why, again, the whole story of Dido is focused around Black history. And again, it's informing not just the participants, but also the audience of Black history and the contributions that black people have made to Britain for centuries. I mean, Dido was during Georgian time, but we know that black people were here during Henry VIII time. We've got John Blank, who was one of Henry VIII's trumpeters. We've got Severus, who was in the
I think
army.
all your train of thought, Henry, that the guy, trumpet guy, also wrote to Henry saying he wanted to raise a pay rise.
Absolutely. He wrote to Henry and said, Henry VIII, and said that he wasn't being paid enough money. And he wrote to Henry. There is documentation with the letter saying that he wants some more money, and Henry gave it to him.
Well, you said, there you
go. So you know, and we know that he wasn't enslaved. He had come from from Africa. So this is, I think, the core thing is to try and get our children to understand that there was life before slavery. You go into schools, they want to start our history from slavery. There was life way before slavery. And there's life after slavery. And even during slavery, we were doing things. So it's a key part of our history, 400 years of our history, which we cannot forget, we should not forget, and we need to understand why it happened, but we also need to understand why they chose us as well as a race. That's really important. And it shows you today how resilient we are, and as Maya Angelou says, still I rise. I rise, and we can see, the things that are happening to our people around the world, but still we rise. So Black history is not just Black history, it's everybody's history. If everybody understands where we are and what we are as a people and what we've contributed, I think this world would be a much better place. But we need to understand, so we need to understand also that not just as Black people were we kind of miseducated about our history, but white people have also been miseducated about their history, which is our history. So it's just, the production is there to engage the young people in the arts, be able to express themselves, be able to think about different avenues as well, that they can go on stage, but also to inform, engage and educate.
Because I know the last production called Intergeneration, and I've seen clips and footage, and I love that combination of the youngsters and the elders, just really coming together to create such production, and how the elderly ones did the narration and all of that, and it was very very interesting seeing that dynamics,
and they worked so well together. So during the boot camp, so we have 4 weeks, of workshops of singing, dance and drama, and during those workshops they learn those performing arts skills, how to project their voices, how to change the tones of their voices, how to engage in the character. We do extensive character building workshops as well, so they really understand Dido. So by the end of it, everyone knows where Dido is coming from. Everyone will understand where Sam Sharp is coming from. So we really focus on those characters, and then we change roles. So the adults play the role of a child, and the child plays the role of an adult, and in character. So they really do get an opportunity to empathise with each other, really. So,
go in each other's shoes.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. Okay. All right. And usually, what time of the year you carry out the workshop, or the boot camp, and then the actual performance?
So we do it through the whole of August. So from the 2nd of August to the 27th of August. So it's 4 weeks through August. It's all day. So it's 10 till 4. And during that time, obviously, we do the various different workshops. And then we give the children their parts, and then we go into rehearsals.
Yeah.
And at the end of the boot camp, we do a press night. So all the people who have supported the project, anyone who's given to the crowdfunding, they're all invited to the press night. And we have an open dress rehearsal where they can see the production before everybody else, and we feed them and we give them drinks as well. And so just quickly, just to say, the NEU, Bromley and Bexley who've given to both productions. We've got Holly Play, who is an after school company that works with children after schools, always supporting us. We have Scone Palace, which is interesting because Scone Palace is the Murray's house, which is Dido's, absolutely, and this is where you find the actual original painting.
I think
so. So
people have seen this somehow.
So that's the original painting of Dido and her cousin Elizabeth, which you would find at Scone Palace. So Scone Palace has been very supportive. So thank you, Scone Palace. They're very supportive. And also we have, who else? We've got a local hair product and beauty place in Catford that's supporting us well. They're called Hair Glow. So we have been really fortunate with people that are supporting us, and then we have the crowdfunding. So anyone who supported the project are invited to the press night, and obviously the press. And they get to see the production before the paying audience, which is going to be the following weekend, which is the 4th and the 5th of September.
Okay, all right. So with that, there's more information to come, but we're going to take a track, and when we get back, we're going to do a little more focus and give a little more, explanation and Dido herself,
Set examples of how a modern king you should never with tyranny or fear in any endeavor. Act calm, composed and always carefully measured. It's a pleasure and an honor and a privilege. I will never act intolerant or ignorant. I aspire to the highest for my citizens and my kings in them. I see kings in them. Kings are no longer born, they're shaped through life experiences, they break through. The principal skill is to make do. Only given half, known to make two. Flip it, twist it, and improve on it. Formulate a strategy and move on it. Stay cool, you can handle the heat. Cause nowadays kings also be commander-in-chief. You get me? People going wild for the slightest things. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. People switch fast when the pendulum swings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. Truth is, my brother is a king too. The old ways ain't something that we cling to. The new ways is something that we sing to. Progress is something that a king do. Corona claimed the crown, so we ditched them. Symbolizing down with the system. No coronation needed for upliftment. The only thing a king needs is a kingdom. And a kingdom is richer with many kings. Many kings then achieves many things. To a king, a troll is invisible. And the new giant's influence ridiculed. New king's power isn't absolute. That's why we need more kings steady passing through. More citizens adopting these attributes. And that's the truth. King. People going wild for the slightest things. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. People switch fast when the pendulum swings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. People going wild for the slightest things. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. People switch fast when the pendulum swings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings. That is not found in the mind of kings.